For number 14, we're given some information that's in the language of English. And what we need to do is we need to convert it to the language of math. Okay, so we're going to do a little bit of translating here, starting in English and then ending in the language of mathematics. So how do I stare at this and kind of come up with a game plan? The first thing I do is I look for the word is or total of. The word is and total of is usually my equal sign. So right here I see the word is. That's telling me that I've got my equal sign, and then usually it'll tell you right after what needs to go after the equal sign. So it equals is 8 equals 8. So that's what I'm going to do first. Starting to translate this from English to math. The next thing I look for is our variable. Okay, so over here I see a number n. So there's our variable. So I'm going to put an n over here. I'm not going to put it right next to the equal sign because I might need to put things on either side of it. So I always like, when I put my letter down, I like to give myself a little bit of space. So there's my variable. That's the second thing I look for. Now, often there is a rate that we're looking for. So that's a fancy way of saying does the n have something that's being multiplied by it? That would be like a rate. So n, okay, 3 times a number n. So 3 times n. So our rate here would be 3. That's the next thing I look for. And then the last thing I look for is usually a connector, okay? So the word and is often a connector. So here we see that there's and 7. So there also has to be a 7 over here. And then there's usually, we're looking for some sort of word that tells us, should it be plus 7, minus 7, times 7, divided by 7? So I see the word difference. Difference is a word that means the same thing as to subtract. So the last thing I notice here is that I need to subtract 7, and I wanted to be super cool with color coding, so I'm going to do that. So difference means minus and 7. So now we have taken this English sentence and we've turned it into a mathematical sentence. So now that we've done that, we have our equation, and we can write that right here. So 3n minus 7 equals 8. All right, so now they want us to figure out what n equals, so we need to get n by itself. So let's solve. So we have to move the 3 and the negative 7 before n will be by itself. So the 3 is connected to the n, the minus 7 is not, so the one that's not connected will move first. So let's start by adding 7. And now we have just a 3n over here. And on this side, all we have is 15. And now to get n by itself, that's 3 times n, and so the opposite of timesing would be to divide. So let's divide by 3. N is by itself, great. 15 divided by 3 is 5. So now we know what n equals. N equals 5. And then at the end, they asked one more question. They asked, what is triple the value of n? So n is 5. Triple means 3 times. So 3 times 5 is 15. So triple the value of n would be 15. There we go.